We're talking about body in coffee. We're talking about what body is, where does it come from, what exactly it is, how to describe it, how to decipher it. Because I realized one thing, that a lot of people have got confusion in what body is. So let's talk about that. So what is body? Body is actually, in coffee, body means the, let's keep it very simple, heaviness that you feel once you drink a beverage. Body is the viscosity. Viscosity means how fast a fluid moves, or in coffee terms, if I want to put it, how fast does your tongue move through that liquid. Let's just keep it at that. That is what body is in coffee. In other terms, you can also define body as the tactile sensation between your roof of the palate and your tongue. So what is the sensation, or what kind of feeling attribute are you having when you are drinking that coffee? So that is what body is. The simplest way that I can explain to you what body is, that imagine your arms are your tongue, and in the air you can move your arms very easily, right? Whereas if you go in the swimming pool, because of water, your arms start moving a little slower, right? Because we're comparing air versus water. So air is easy to move through and water is thoda sa difficult to move through. So similarly in coffee, when your tongue starts moving slower, the coffee is considered to be a heavy bodied coffee. So that's the best and the easiest example by which I can explain to you what body means in coffee. Body could be low, body could be high. A high-bodied coffee does not mean great coffee. Neither does low-bodied coffee mean bad coffee. There's nothing to do with that. High body or low body is just the, I would say, sensation that you're getting. Are you liking it? Is a different parameter altogether. So a high body could be good or bad. A low body could be good or could be bad. So that's something which is very important for you guys to remember when you're tasting coffee, that if you're tasting a coffee that is high bodied, you don't need to necessarily give it a high score. It was old school that people used to go for high bodied coffee, and low bodied coffee would rate really less, would score really less. But that's all old school, and that's not something that now in the specialty structure of things you should be going ahead with. So in the cupping sheet, if you see, you got scoring for the body, and also you got the intensity. So you've got two parameters. You've got to score it, and intensity is also mentioned over there. Is it high or is it low? So you could score 9 and it could be low or it could be high. So it's that. Now let's move to how to describe a body in coffee. So body in coffee is the viscous feeling, or the kind of feeling that you get in your mouth, right? That we've established what body is. How to describe that? So there are various ways of describing body. It could be light, it could be heavy, it could be creamy, syrupy, juicy. You could have body which is thick. It is also sticky, chewy, grainy. You could have body which is full bodied, alright, creamy or oily. So all these are the sensations, all these are the descriptors of body in coffee. This will help you understand how you can place what coffee is where. As a simple note, dark roasted coffees are heavy bodied. They are heavy as a mouthfeel in general. They're oily, and it makes your palate feel really full, alright? So that's why we call it full body. Specialty coffee is now moving away from that pretty much, alright? Not that I'm saying that light roasted coffees are not full bodied, but I haven't tasted many of those as such. Usually light roasted coffees are more towards the juicy side of things, more acidic. Not acidic is a flavor note, but juicy side of things. So these are all the characteristics of a light bodied coffee. That is basically the filter profiles that we do. Where does the body come from in coffee? Now, this is a very, very interesting topic. It's processing, roasting, and brewing. All right, processing, roasting, and brewing. Now, body due to processing, I don't want to label it again. As I said in the last video, I don't want to label it particularly because processing is a very intense and huge subject to deal with. So you can't really put it in any sort of bracket where you can say because of washed process the body became heavier, or natural process the body became darker. You can't really put that as such. So let's move from the processing to the roasting. So coffee, if you roast it darker, becomes heavier. If you roast it lighter, it is lighter bodied coffee. Usually, let's take it like that. A lot of people will be knowing about this thing for sure. But once you start roasting darker, the sugars get caramelized pretty much. Those sugars basically will form part of your coffee, which will basically increase the body of the coffee. So that is why a lot of cafes, a lot of places, if you see the espresso roasts, will have a blend of a little darker shade of coffee and component of a light roasted coffee as well to bring out a little bit of fruitiness. You got a heavy body of the little dark roasted coffee and a nice fruitier palatable kind of tasting note because of the lighter roasted coffee. And the body in coffee comes from the colloids and the sugars present inside the coffee. But I'm not sure if many people must have understood this or realized this thing. Brewing plays a huge role in capturing the body of coffee. So let's say if you're brewing a coffee and then if you use a mesh filter versus a paper filter, mesh filter will let all the colloids come into your coffee and the oils as well, by which your coffee will be a little heavier. And the same coffee, if you brew it with a paper filter, the oils will be absorbed and you'll get a very lighter version of that coffee. Now I'll tell you an experience that I had when the regionals of the AeroPress Championship for the first time were happening. So I opted to use a mesh filter because I kind of knew the palette, what was getting accepted over there. Light roasted coffees, because we were just on the cusp of moving towards a specialty coffee, and everybody was just making fruitier coffees kind of a thing, or not fruitier but a light roasted light bodied coffee with a paper filter. So I used a mesh filter by which the body of the coffee kind of increased and the perceived sweetness also increased because the acidity went down, due to which my cups kept winning in the regionals of the 2017 AeroPress Championship. And that is what brewing does to the body of a coffee. Now, espresso, which does not have a paper filter but it passes through the metal basket, will have a heavier body, whereas the AeroPress that passes through the paper filter will have a light body. And pour over will have a lighter body. So that's how brewing plays a role in bringing out the body in coffee. The body is important in coffee because it completes the coffee experience, I would say. You remove the second part of the brewing, second part of the coffee that you're extracting, like the refer to the previous video that we done. So in that, what we did was we removed the first part of the coffee and then included the second and the third part together. If you remove the middle part of the coffee in a different cup and just use the first and the third part of the coffee, you will definitely and most certainly find the coffee to be extremely thin, and it's literally like a hot dark black water that you're drinking. You'll find the coffee to be super incomplete if the body is not there. But at the same time, so when you say light bodied coffee, it does not mean zero body, right? It has some component of that. Now, for example, you can try this, by the way. If you want to see how body react, how much it is important, you can do two exercises. When you're making a pour over, remove the middle part of the coffee, as we did in the previous video where we removed the first part. In this, remove the second part and just take the first and the third part of the coffee. You can additionally, what you can do is brew a AeroPress, brew it with one paper filter. Next time, brew it with 3 paper filters. The kind of experience that you'll get in both of them, you'll find that this one to be lacking some sort of balance or I would say satisfaction in terms of drinking coffee. But here you'll get that body, pretty much a little heavier body than this one. So you can try that out and you'll understand how much importance the body has in a pour over or a AeroPress, or for that matter any coffee. So here are the tips to use body to your advantage. All right, body of coffee to your advantage. So heavy, if it is a super heavy bodied coffee, a simple way is just bypass like 10-15 ml of water, and you will find your heavy bodied coffee coming out to be like a much more lighter, medium and palatable coffee. Second, if it is a super light bodied coffee, all right, what you do is try to increase the acidity in coffee just a little bit, and you'll kind of compensate the super light bodied coffee with acidity, and the perceived body will come out well. So try that out. If you find a coffee which is super light bodied, just try to increase the acidity by maybe reducing the temperature, by maybe increasing the grind size, or however it is. So try to do that and you'll find that out. So this is $1 million tip. Nobody's subscribing though. Alright, so this was a video that we shot super early morning at a new place that we've got now, and you can see the walls are all painted right over here. So to paint this wall, we need a few subscribers, because our painter has said that if you don't get more subscribers, I will stop painting the wall. So please do like, share and subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon so that you'll get the notification and you can see it any time of the day. So cheers, thank you so much.